let's say every single person who voted for Jim Jordan switches his vote to Steve Scalise. You add 110 and 99, and you're not at 217. Fact is, a number of Republicans, 8, 10, 15, either voted for somebody else or they voted present. So it looks like they're headed for the same situation, which is a big majority favors one candidate, and who knows, it might not be Scalise in the end, but favors one candidate, and then a small group realizes that they are now in a kingmaker position, and they're going to withhold their vote until they get something that they want.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with Chief Political Correspondent Byron York. And Byron, there's been a lot of chaos in the House since former Speaker Kevin McCarthy was ousted. Steve Scalise was nominated by the GOP conference, but he's short of the floor votes. How does he overcome that gap without sort of making a bunch of promises to individuals that he can't keep, which was sort of the undoing of McCarthy?
That'll be very hard to do. I think you have to go back not to the McCarthy ousting, but back to January when McCarthy becomes the Speaker. And so after all of the division and pain and embarrassment of going 15 ballots before they elect McCarthy, and McCarthy having to promise everybody everything, after that settled, a lot of Republicans said, let's don't do that again. And now they're about to do that again. Because if you look at the numbers, Scalise doesn't have 217 votes. And you need 217 votes, unless maybe some people just vote present. It might go down a couple of votes, but that's what you need. And if you look at what Scalise got in the internal Republican vote, he gets 113 votes, right? Now, 3 of them are from U.S. territories. So they vote in the Republican conference, but they can't vote on the House floor. So he's got 110. And Jim Jordan gets 99. Well, let's say every single person who voted for Jim Jordan switches his vote to Steve Scalise. You add 110 and 99, and you're not at 217. Fact is, a number of Republicans, 8, 10, 15, either voted for somebody else or they voted present. So it looks like they're headed for the same situation, which is a big majority favors one candidate, and who knows, it might not be Scalise in the end, but favors one candidate, and then a small group realizes that they are now in a kingmaker position, and they're going to withhold their vote until they get something that they want.
In January, when McCarthy was going through those 15 rounds, it was still difficult for him to clinch the speakership, even though he was essentially unopposed. And, you know, Scalise isn't exactly unopposed. Like you mentioned, there's roughly half the GOP conference that wanted Jim Jordan to be speaker. So do you think Scalise inevitably emerges from this, or is there still room for someone else to become speaker?
No, he does not inevitably emerge from this. And, I mean, it could be Jordan. Maybe Jordan comes roaring back. Or maybe they're kind of deadlocked and they go to a third choice, like Patrick McHenry. I think a lot of people, he's the Speaker pro tem. He's the one who's taken the place as a placeholder while a new Speaker is chosen. I think a number of Republicans have been kind of happy with that. So, I mean, it's entirely there. It seems to me there are 3 possibilities, which is Scalise or Jordan or somebody else.
Right.
I think that takes care of it.
A lot of uncertainty still there. RFK Jr. was initially running in the Democratic primary against Joe Biden, polling around 15%, but you know, not necessarily a serious challenger to Joe Biden. Now he's launched as an independent candidate, and both Republicans and Democrats are worried about this. Who do you think should be more worried?
Well, that's kind of an open question. I mean, the fact is, after getting about 20% in Democratic polling when he joined the Democratic race in April, Kennedy never actually broke through in the Democratic Party race. He started at 20, and he's just kind of very gradually gone down. He's a little under 15 in the Democratic race. President Biden, for whatever else he does, had launched a very effective campaign to strangle the Kennedy candidacy in the crib, and it worked. I mean, Democratic officialdom was unanimously against a Kennedy run. All sorts of Democratic aligned media outlets did hit jobs on Kennedy. There was just a lot of anti-Kennedy stuff. Obviously, the motivation for them was they feared that Kennedy would weaken Joe Biden enough so that Donald Trump could become president again, which is the worst case scenario for them. So that's what they did. Well, it was very effective. So on Monday, Kennedy takes another course. He declares his candidacy as an independent. And now he's running not against Joe Biden, but against Joe Biden and Donald Trump. He's running as an independent candidate. The thing that I thought was extraordinary, watching his speech in Philadelphia, he tends to give speeches that are a little too long, but watching it in Philadelphia, he really makes an appeal to the Americans who are kind of disgusted, or at least unhappy with their choice. And we've had polling where pollsters ask Americans, if you have a presidential vote next year and it's between Joe Biden for the Democrats and Donald Trump for the Republicans, are you looking forward to that? How would you describe yourself? Are you excited? Are you optimistic? Are you hopeful? Are you revved up? Or do you dread it? Well, a majority said they dreaded it. People traditionally have kind of complained about the choice that they had, Bush and Kerry, or McCain and Obama, whatever. They're not happy with either one. But now it seems to be really on steroids, and a lot of people are very unhappy with that. And where Kennedy comes in is he could actually appeal to those people who just don't like their choice.
Well, Byron, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You can get more writing from Byron by signing up for his newsletter, Byron York's Daily Memo, at washingtonexaminer.com.